Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into the highly structured, highly strategic world of purchasing management. A lot of people think of purchasing as just a back office administrative task, like somebody just signing off on office supplies, but actually, smart buying is a massive corporate profit center. When you get the anatomy of this system right, it fundamentally changes the financial health of an entire organization.
To really put this into perspective right out of the gate, consider this incredible caselet from our source material. There was a large company with an annual purchasing expenditure of about $10 billion. By centralizing their procurement and utilizing smart purchasing management, they were able to shave over 15% off that amount annually. That is $1.5 billion saved every single year just by changing how they buy things. It proves that optimizing procurement isn't just about saving a few pennies. It's about leveraging massive buying power to streamline operations and literally eliminate redundancies across the globe.
So here's our agenda for today. We're going to cover 1. Intro to purchasing management, 2. Core duties and functions, 3. The 8 R's of purchasing, 4. Policies and procedures, 5. Buying high capital equipment, and 6. Summary and key takeaways. All right, let's jump into part 1. Intro to purchasing management. Let's establish the absolute foundation of what this department actually does and how modern organizations view the art of buying. Traditionally, purchasing was just an administrative chore. But today, progressive management gives it equal status with production and sales. They use what is called scientific purchasing. Where old methods just blindly replaced inventory that was sold, scientific purchasing leverages sophisticated statistical tools like linear regression to predict exactly what's needed and when. It factors in average daily demand, current inventory on hand, seasonal fluctuations, and even promotional retail price changes. It completely replaces guesswork with pure precision, ensuring production schedules are met with the absolute minimum inventory investment. It's a real game changer. Moving on to part 2, core duties and functions. The sheer scale and complexity of the purchasing department's daily workload is strategically divided into 2 distinct categories. On one hand, the department has exclusive responsibilities. These are things only they do. They have total control over selecting the right suppliers, negotiating the absolute best price, and officially placing the orders. But they don't operate in a vacuum. They have shared responsibilities too. They have to collaborate with other departments to get precise technical specifications, inspect received materials to ensure quality standards are met, and manage inventory control. It's a highly collaborative role that acts as the nerve center for the company's supply chain. Now for part 3, the 8 R's of purchasing. So understanding the philosophy of how to buy scientifically brings us to the theoretical heart of the process. The 8 R's brilliantly illustrate that purchasing is not just some linear checklist. It's a fully interconnected system. It covers everything from right contracts and legal aspects to right transportation and vendor ratings. Every single R impacts the others. For instance, demanding the right time might completely wreck the right price if you have to pay for rushed shipping. Balancing this web is the true skill of a purchasing manager. While all 8 parameters matter immensely, there are 5 that really do the heavy lifting. First, you have right quality, which is heavily dependent on technical design specifications. Right quantity relies on economic order quantity, or EOQ models, so you aren't holding way too much or too little stock. Then there's right time, which is all about navigating complex lead times, from the moment an indent is raised to the exact moment the goods arrive at the warehouse. Finally, achieving the right price requires fierce negotiation and learning curve analysis, and the right source demands rigorous vendor rating to ensure ultimate reliability. Let's move to part 4, policies, procedures, and e-procurement. When you're dealing with millions or billions of dollars, you absolutely need systems that ensure transparency, economy, and prevent utter chaos. A great example of systematizing the purchasing process is the Kardex System. This is an essential step-by-step method used by purchasing officers to meticulously track every single detail of an order. It records the whole shebang, from the initial indent, identifying what to purchase and from whom, right through tracking the delivery status and finally verifying the payment. It ensures that any purchasing officer can jump in, access the records, and instantly know the exact status of critical materials. But what happens when procedures like the right time and right quantity are ignored? Well, our source material provides a pretty sobering cautionary case study of a Kenyan farm supplying a UK retailer. The buyers were relying on erratic, last-minute ordering, changing volumes by up to 50% just a day in advance. The consequences of this poor purchasing management cascaded right down the supply chain. It led to forced overtime, lost revenue for the suppliers, harsh working conditions, and severe safety risks for farm workers who were left without safe transport home after unexpected late shifts. It shows exactly why disciplined purchasing procedures aren't just about saving money. They have real human impacts. To prevent that kind of chaos and ensure fairness, organizations strictly define who actually has the authority to buy. For instance, in public procurement models highlighted in the text, authority escalates with cost. Small purchases up to 15,000 rupees might bypass formal quotes entirely, utilizing a purchase without quotation based, simply on a personal certification of satisfaction. But step up to goods between 15,000 and 1 lakh rupees, and you suddenly require the rigorous oversight of a formal 3-member purchase committee to survey the market. And for massive scale items or areas where a specific department lacks expertise, they route the transaction entirely through a central purchase organization. To further enforce these rules and remove human error, the landscape has shifted heavily to e-procurement. By electronically managing the entire process, from inviting tenders to receiving bids and executing contracts, organizations drastically cut transaction costs and improve transparency. It utilizes secure, encrypted gateways and digital signatures, making the whole system incredibly robust. In fact, this efficiency and security is exactly why e-procurement became mandatory for many government ministries for all their procurements after December 31, 2006. Bringing us to Part 5, Buying High Capital Equipment. So, we know who has the authority to sign the check for everyday goods, but what about massive, high-stakes investments? Capital equipment is strict territory defined by cost and longevity. We aren't talking about paper and pens here. Specifically, it's defined as non-expendable equipment featuring a system acquisition cost of $5,000 or more and a life expectancy of at least 2 years. These are major assets, like heavy machinery for a production line that must be capitalized and depreciated over their economic life, meaning they have totally different accounting rules than regular supplies. Because these buys represent such massive, non-repetitive financial commitments, purchasers can't just fill out a simple form. They must submit a flawless PR package or purchase request package. This dossier is extensive. It must contain product vendor literature, all obtained market quotes, signed routing slips from building coordinators, and, this is absolutely crucial, robust written justifications if they ever attempt to limit competition to just one manufacturer. Every detail, down to standard equipment checklists and trade-in allowances, must be meticulously documented to justify the massive spend. Finally, Part 6, Summary and Key Takeaways. We've covered a really dense amount of material today, building this purchasing department from the ground up. Ultimately, the text beautifully describes the purchasing department as an organization's vital window to the world. They are the crucial link bringing continuous contact with outside innovations, materials, and processes back into the company. They serve as a major profit center by scientifically balancing the 8 R's of purchasing. They enforce strict centralized procedures and e-procurement to maintain transparency. And finally, they meticulously manage massive financial commitments through intensive PR packaging for capital equipment. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought for you to ponder. If purchasing is truly the window to the world, and we've seen how e-procurement completely revolutionized transparency, how might the integration of real-time AI forecasting completely rewrite these traditional principles of buying? Will algorithms soon balance the 8 R's entirely on their own? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. I hope this structured look at purchasing management has given you a totally new appreciation for the incredible power of strategic buying.